job, ladies. For baseball, first team all-league, Ben Haxby, pitcher. Also, Garrett Lieber, first team, first base. Second ball, first team, infield. Second team, Kate Conklin, pitcher, and Alex Sabo, outfield. And also honorable mention, Ben Haxby, infield, Noah Keogh, infield and pitcher, and Kate Conklin, infield. And first team, Carson Craig, catcher. Sarah Carson. For boys golf, state qualifiers, Atlas Asaro and Lawrence Scroll.
Good evening, and thank you all for coming here tonight to honor all of our spring athletes. It's a fine group of student athletes at Wilson High School. First of all, I want to say that right here, this baseball team, baseball guys, stand up. Turn around and wave. Have a seat. They follow directions very well. That's why they're successful. Also because this varsity team is very intelligent, or at least they perform well in the classroom. In fact, they're the number one GPA in the state with a 3.65. AP testing happened during that week. I don't know how many of those guys were late to practice, but you know, for that, it's okay. Our season was a really good season. Obviously, playoff qualifier went down. Beating South Eugene was the first time that the baseball program has a victory on the road in 6A. All the other victories in the past in 6A had all been home contests. So to go down and to defeat an opponent on its home field, end their season, and watch them clean the field, while we celebrated, that was outstanding. As Mr. Chittard said, that this year was very difficult. Our lower level teams didn't really get to play a lot. Our varsity got to play all but one game. And had a great, probably one of the best streaks that Wilson baseball has ever had. It was a 13-game win streak, and in those 13 games, we allowed 10 total runs. As Coach Casey, Oregon State, the number one team in the nation, said that pitching and defense will win you games. Offense determines by how much. And tonight right now, I'm going to honor an award going out to basically what these guys voted as the outstanding player. It's voted on by the players. Coaches don't have anything to do with it. The players who voted Garrett Lieber. Mr. Easton, Ms. Meisner, and all of our coaches, Coach Kaufman, Coach Hockett, Coach Johnson, Coach Wells, Coach Reimer, what's up here? Coach Nolan, Coach Greg Hermans. If you've never been to Knoxville Bar and Grill, it's a nice place. Breakfast. He owns it, so it's a plug for him, along with the partial sign on the outfield fence. If you haven't noticed, it's destroyed, but it's back in fine fashion. Thank you, parents, for giving us your kids to have a great opportunity. It's really great to be able to come out here. makes my day. As a dean of students, I don't always get to work with when they come to my office, it's for a good reason, and I like it. Thank you very much on the softball. Well, thank you all for showing up. It sure is a different view when we're here, sort of squished together instead of in the cafeteria or up in the stands and an entire set of bleachers. So thank you all, parents and players and any other fans that we have in the room. 2017 season was a great year. We got to see 6 outstanding seniors pass through, and I'm sure if I go back to the statistics, it's probably the highest team GPA that we've ever had. I don't remember ever a time where we had 7 guys that had a 4-point, and it doesn't really break down when you go down to the lower levels and the other teams that there are still a lot of really outstanding student athletes here, and the ones that are still there that are in the program that might not be to the 3-point level, the 3.5, they know it's important. Obviously we stress it in this program, being a student athlete, the student comes first. And we had a great group of seniors that did an outstanding job this year, juniors, sophomores, freshmen. Hopefully we can set the standard for the next years and the incoming freshmen for next year. But this year has a lot to do with our great assistant coaches, and I want to thank our assistant coaches. I wouldn't be able to do this without them. This is not anything. I'm the architect, maybe putting the plans together, but they go out and they execute it. That I can trust them to be able to go out there. I can trust them with your kids to be able to do the right thing, to coach up what we want coached. And we've just had an outstanding job from the coaches that have been here a while, Coach Johnson, Coach Greg, or Coach Hermans, as a lot of you know, to the newer coaches that we've had recently in the last few years, Coach Hockett, Coach Wells did a great job, Nick Kaufman, Mike Nolan, of course, Arun. He's always around. He's coaching. I think he's coaching somewhere right now. Might have a JBO practice he's at, hitting ground balls. Nick Kaufman, he's not here tonight. He said, I told him he'd be missed, and he said say hi to everyone, but he's a major reason for the success that we had this year, and hopefully we get to keep him for the next few years. That he's, thanks to the Arizona Diamondbacks organization, they're paying for his 4th year of college, and he's starting that at Portland State. He's pursuing, he's a great artist, if no one knew that. He was my TA back in the day, and I still have his doodles. I kept them because someday maybe they'll be valuable. I have his portfolio. I'm holding it hostage. But he did a great job coming in and developing relationships really quick. Obviously, it's pretty cool for these guys to be able to see somebody that just came out of the professional baseball ranks and is willing to give the time and to show that he cares like he does. And I gave him a hard time. It's not really a hard time, but I just noticed that he cannot not coach. That he's always coaching. I walk away to do something else, and he grabs the guys and starts teaching them something new. And he's yelling across the field at the base runners when he's at the pitchers down there. And I got to send the base runners down to hear what he said because it's all good stuff. And it was outstanding. Our guys bought in. He came in not knowing what our league was about, except that he played in it. Right. The most information he had about any one team, I think, was the Newburgh game, and that's probably where he showed the most emotion. And hopefully, if you ask your kids what he said, they'll lie to you, and so I won't get in trouble. But let's just say he was a little emotional after that, the 4 innings back in March, and then the 3 innings when we finished in May. That was an interesting thing this year in terms of an interrupted contest. But Nick did an outstanding job. Got the kids to buy in to what he was preaching, and it really hadn't changed much in our program, but he just came in and really sold it and did an outstanding job working with all of our kids. It didn't matter who was there. If he was there calling pitches at a JV game or a JV2 game when they were playing, he just had to be involved. Right now he's lucky that he's actually finally moving out of his parents' place, and he's got a place of his own, so that's where he is dealing with all that stuff tonight. Players and the parents, I want to thank you for dealing with all of my emails. I think one time when I got introduced, somebody said, "Oh, you're Coach Shetler, you're the email guy." It was last year, and that's it's a great way of communicating. And I got the last 2 years I'd worried if my message got through, and this year especially, I want to thank the players for responding so well, because really we didn't have 3 full teams. We had 2 full teams, and we told a few guys in there that you'd be playing a lot back and forth. And so when we sent those emails out to guys just saying, hey, follow this plan today, follow that plan today, that they did. I'd show up in the locker room at 3 o'clock, and here the sophomores were coming down to play the JV2, or the JV game was happening, and here came the freshmen. And so obviously it was a pattern. It worked out. There was very little confusion until we got to who still had what uniform, or what jersey hadn't been turned back in. So we're trying to figure those out. At the varsity level, we broke a record for participation in games. That we had 25 individuals participate in varsity games, partly to do with unfortunate, our league and some of the lack of competition, but it was a risk that we went, and if you didn't know, that the second game against Benson, we played an entire, for the most part, JV team. That there's our varsity team, all the starters and the backups were sitting on the bench, and we had the JV team going against the Benson varsity team, and they kicked the crap out of Benson, and it was outstanding, right? So when you look at the league, and we played 17 games in league, but only the starters only played 16. It wasn't because they did something bad or they were sick. They were Ironman. They were there, but we held them out of that game. So thank you to the players for being flexible, for being able to move up and down. One of those days, we had the AP testing going on, and I was just grateful that maybe a couple of varsity kids weren't at an AP test, and so the first 2 in the locker room, we said, here are JV uniforms, you got to go play. And it just so happened to be 2 varsity starters, and that's a little risky because you send those guys off and they end up getting hurt. But they went out, and the report back from Coach Hockett was that they acted like leaders with class, showed the rest of the guys how to play, and without really had an effect on the game. And that's what we want to do. I hate to send varsity guys down and they become distractions, but in this case, this group of kids, throughout every single time we move kids into a place, it was a benefit for our program. And so thank you, players. I wrote this probably 2 hours after the Grant game, and so it was, I knew at that point I could, my most emotional times would be right here. That GPA thing, I can't stress it enough. And I told the players that's the angriest I've ever been as a coach was when I found out that we were left off of the OSAA list. And I knew we had a pretty good GPA, and I went home and I started calculating it and it was funny that it all started because of drama posted on social media. Or I guess the drama started because of something that was posted on social media. And I looked back, I took a step back, and I laughed because that's what I deal with as the dean every single day. And now I'm falling into that trap that I'm pissed off because Lincoln posted that they're the number 2 GPA in state. And then I find out that we're not even on the list. And Century, who's coached by a former player of mine, they were the number 1 team. And then I started calculating, and I started getting these numbers and seeing all these 4 points. I'm like, I hope we're not. Just because I didn't want to get angry that, if we'd have been 5th, it would have been something different, or even 2nd. But to be 1st, and then to not have that be out there, definitely I made some phone calls and some texts and did my bit of complaining. Nothing we can do. OSAA doesn't budge on those things. But without a doubt, this program, players, the varsity guys, an outstanding job this year. Thank you, parents, again. So quickly time flies. Senior parents, I think we first might have met when they were in 7th grade, doing some JBO things. I think I filled in one time to coach one of the games, but just like that, it's over. Right? You're on to new things, and all these kids are going on to do great things, and they set They were great role models for the future players. These were the guys when I think they were sophomores. They came out, and I remember them running around, busting their butt out on the field, trying to push the older kids. And then as juniors, they persevered through a year of where the seniors might have settled a little bit for some little mediocrity and didn't necessarily have the same drive as some of our seniors this year. And you can really see it, hopefully in this junior class, that you guys follow their example and want to go out and give everything you've got. Between now and then, between now and next year, will really determine what we do. And you have a potential of being a really solid team. Obviously, there's some people to replace, some seniors, and I think we've got the people behind them to be able to fill in. Looking forward to good things in the future. So that's what we'll start with now. Coach Johnson will bring up, have all the JV2 guys come up.